Hey, what's up guys? This is Justin, and I was on a little bit of a hiatus. I actually got to go to San Diego Comic-Con. Don't worry, news and discussion about that will be coming soon. Today I'm going to be talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the 9th film from Quentin Tarantino. So the plot of this film is Rick Dalton, played by none other than Leonardo DiCaprio. He played this 1950s bonanza rifleman type character, and he was a huge hit. But now he's sort of questioning what his life is today. Where does he belong in the film industry? But this is where stuntman Cliff Booth comes into play, played by Brad Pitt. Cliff Booth is basically Rick Dalton's stunt double. But at this point, since he can't drive, he's Rick Dalton's driver too. He literally does anything Rick Dalton wants him to do. Fixes his cable antenna. Sure, why not? Need something clean? Yeah, go ahead. That's what your job is today. It's basically about them dealing with the evolution of the film industry. Margot Robbie moves in next door. She plays the actress Sharon Tate, and she's off with Roman Polanski, and all of these characters eventually intertwine Bruce Lee, Steve McQueen, and countless others. So just like previous Quentin Tarantino films, this film has a star-studded cast. Like I mentioned before, Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, they're basically the center point of this film. Everyone else, including Margot Robbie, even though she's marketed as one of the main characters, kind of take a background seat to these two guys. Leo and Brad did a fantastic job. I mean, just give them the Academy Awards already, because their performances were probably one of my favorite performances to date. The comedy was well timed too. I want to hang out with these guys. Like if I was living in the 60s, I wanted to be in the situation they're in. Margot Robbie did a good job. Now, like I said, when I saw the trailers, I kind of expected her to be one of the main characters, and she is and she isn't at the same time. She plays Sharon Tate, and for those familiar with Sharon Tate's story, you might kind of expect one of the subplots in this film. If you don't, then I'm not going to mention it at all. I did enjoy her character though, even though she didn't have too much to do. Maybe that's historically accurate. Maybe that's what they were going for. It still worked for me. Okay, so the supporting cast. I gotta cheat and look at this. Margaret Qualley, Emile Hirsch, Timothy Olyphant, Julie Butters, Austin Butler, Dakota Fanning, Bruce Dern, Mike Mupp. He played Bruce Lee. By the way, he was fantastic. Spot on performance. Luke Perry, Damian Lewis, Al Pacino, Kurt Russell, and countless others. Even Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, has a little bit of a role in this. There's tons of other fun little cameos in this film, and I'll leave it up to you guys to see if you can spot them out. I don't know how Quentin Tarantino does it, because you have a similar situation with Avengers Endgame. You have all of these crazily talented actors and actresses all under one roof, all filming scenes for this movie. How do you juggle all that and still make all of the characters relevant? But he did it. Quentin Tarantino pulled it off again. So I'm just going to talk about the setting now. It takes place in 1969, and Quentin Tarantino did an amazing job of just building this world. That's my biggest thing in films. If you can build a world, if you can suck me into it, whether it's based on actual history or complete fiction, then you've already won me over, and that's what happened. A film about filmmaking really excites me because that's what I went to school for. I always wanted to become a filmmaker. Maybe it'll happen one day. But seeing what the life of a stuntman maybe entailed back then, or the life of an actor, or the life of Bruce Lee, how people memorized lines back in the day, how they lived, and again, just the world of a Hollywood star, whether you're behind the scenes or in the scenes. I will say one thing. I'll be the first person to admit that they shoved the hell out of this trailer down people's throats. Literally every movie I saw for the past 3 months, I would see the trailer for this movie, and I was like, oh my god, like, I'm almost sick of it at this point, but I'm glad I wasn't completely sick of it, because this movie exceeded my expectations. Another cool aspect of this film is where they actually show clips from Rick Dalton, Leonardo DiCaprio's fake TV shows from back in the day, Bounty Law, and all these other Western type films, and they do it in the exact style you would have saw it in back then. Black and white, film grain, and even the style of acting people did back in the day. The violence is perfectly done in this film as well. I know a lot of previous Tarantino films have gone over the top, ridiculous with the violence, but this movie did it just well enough. There's a specific fight sequence, and it was even shown a little bit in the trailers, and it involves Cliff Booth and Bruce Lee. And just seeing how these two go toe to toe, I mean, you have a renowned stuntman and you also have a world renowned martial artist. Let's just see how this fight goes, and you guys will not be disappointed. The best part of this film is the third act. I mean, I love this film all around as a whole, but the third act is the act that really shines. There's so much comedy, violence, historical things that are thrown into the mix. Oh my god, I almost lost my shit at the last part of this film. And just like previous Tarantino films, he throws you some curveballs at the end, so this movie always keeps you guessing. Now, I stayed during the credits of this film just to see if there was any actors or actresses I kind of missed. They have some fun little gag blooper reels at the end of the movie. Stay for it. As far as the ending goes, I actually liked it. It really fit the tone of the movie, and it was a great culmination of all these characters' arcs in the film. And I know some people didn't actually like it too much because of how it strayed away from certain historical events or characters, but that's why it's a movie. It's an adaptation. Not everything has to be 100% accurate. So in short, guys, the cast did a fantastic job. The culmination of all these historical figures and events were really well done. The setting, the comedy, the violence were all a perfect blend for another cinematic masterpiece by Quentin Tarantino. This film gets a 10 out of 10.